Hi, good morning everybody. Greetings from Sakiyama, Shuri District in Okinawa. I'm James, this is Becka. A lot of you know us already, it's nice to see you. If you can see us and hear us, please send us a message to say hi.
Morning, yeah, there we can see it. Wayne says good morning.
Good morning, Wayne. Wayne, can you hear us okay? How's the sound?
It's a bit windy up here, see?
Yeah, we are up on the viewpoint here, enjoying the very breezy weather.
Oh, Heinz is here too. He says German.
Hello, Heinz.
Audio is fine, that's good. We have the mics attached today.
So let's kick off by giving you the view from where we are. We're up at Sakiyama Park. Some of you guys have been here, I know. It's got one of the best viewpoints over the southern part of the island. We're looking here from just really the south side of Shuri Castle, here over the south coast, down over Naha.
It won't stay this windy for long. When we get off the viewpoint, it should be much better for you.
It's one of those fantastic spring days when the clouds are racing across the sky here.
Maybe if we stay still long enough, they can see how fast the clouds are moving. So today we're going to take you on a new route that we found the other day with some new parts that I hadn't seen before, and a new entrance into the castle, which I think they've only just recently opened up. So give us just a couple of minutes, and then I guess we'll get started and moving.
Yes, so our route today, we're going to start here in Sakiyama, which is the old Aomori Distillery District, located just to the south side of Shuri Castle. It is an old paved town. We're going to take you through to see some of the old streets, also some of the monuments to karate and kabuto, but also to some of the founding kind of figures in Ryukyu history. And we're going to make our way through Sakiyama District and around the north side of the castle, which usually is closed off. Usually the only time that the north side of the castle, which to most of us would be like the back of the castle, is open is for the Shuri Matsuri, every year, the historical parade. But recently they've opened up the Keiseimon, the gate at the back, and that's where we're going to go through today. And we're going to go right into the heart of Shuri Castle, so we can take a look at the Reconstruction site and give you an update about the progress there as well. But it's a beautiful day. I mean, it could rain at any minute. That's the exciting thing about today. Literally, it could rain at any minute, but we are going to take our chances.
It's because we've just started rainy season, right? We're in week 1 of rainy season.
Rainy season, probably the least popular time to visit the island, but actually it's kind of exciting because you never know what's going to happen. Shall we start?
Yeah, let's start. So we'll just, as we start, we'll spin you guys back around, and we'll just explain what our plans are with these tours and with all the other events we have coming up. So in the next month, we've planned five of these online tours. Going all around the island. We have this one at Shuri, we have the Peace Park, we have American Village, we have Katsuren Castle, and we have Nakagasuku Trail Walk as well. And then after that, we're going to go on a very long walk.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the long walk. We did a long walk about 2 years ago, was it?
3?
2 or 3 years ago, we did a long walk. And you know, it's hard work, but it's also a wonderful experience. So I'm looking forward to it. This time we are going to share our progress as we go along. We'll be doing specific reports on specific locations, some of them karate related, some just related generally to Okinawa. And we're planning to be walking for 5 to 6 days. We're taking our hammocks with us and camping as we go along the way. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the old beard growth progresses, you know, through the week, and Becca's as well, of course, you know.
I don't have beard.
But yeah, we're looking forward to that, and this is a fundraiser too. We're doing this to help you, well, you know, to raise support for keeping Asato Dojo running. Like everywhere else, we are, you know, suffering from corona-related kind of downturn in activity, and yeah, we just want to try and raise some funds to keep the dojo going, along with the seminars and other things that we do from the dojo too, of course.
Okay, so we'll spin around and let's get going. Okay.
So here we are. We're up at the Sakiyama viewpoint, and this is one of the best locations to come up to if you want to get a view across the island. But if you look directly behind me, we're looking at Shuri Castle. What we're going to do is walk down through the park and take a look first at one of the best monuments to karate and kobudo that's been erected in recent years. And actually this park is where we've done our 100 kobudo kata challenge 2 times. So some of you might recognize it if you saw our video, or indeed if you joined us for those events here.
It's gone eerily quiet now, there's no wind.
There we go, we're out of the wind. Hopefully you can hear us really well now.
So this park is really beautiful to come to in cherry blossoms, because all these trees we're going past right here are cherry blossom trees, and they go really pink in February and March time, and it's a very pretty place to come to.
Okay. Right, so here we have the Sakiyama Park Monument to the birthplace of karate and kobujutsu. The kanji at the top read Karate Kobujutsu Shuri Te Hassho no Chi, so the birthplace of karate and kobujutsu. And this commemorates a declaration by the Naha City Assembly of the town of karate and kobudo, which was made in 2012. And you guys who are students of Ryukyu history will recognize a lot of the names here, of course. And there's sort of a lineage or history here, tracing back to Sakagawa Kanga, through Matsumura Sokon, and then through to some, but not all, of the significant Shuri Te bushi or practitioners that were students of Matsumura Sokon. So we've got Itoso Enko there, Asato Enko, Kian Chotoku, Tawada Shinboku. And then the next generation after that, Chibana Choshin, Funukoshi Gichin, Yabu Kensu, Hanashiru Chomo, and of course there are many others too. I really like the way that they've done this. You've got the dragons there, and the kobudo and the karateka there, the claws and the clouds there. Let's go around the back and take a look at the back of the monument. So Nakamoto Masahiro sensei, on the Bunbukan, was really one of the leaders behind organizing getting this monument put here. And you can see his name down here. He is in fact one of Okinawa Prefecture's designated intangible cultural assets. And I think the first Okinawan teacher to publish a book on Okinawan Kobudo as well. Other notable names here, we've got Sakamoto Takeshi, Oshiro Masanori, who are the local leaders and city leaders. What's really interesting is kind of the information here on the right hand side. So Uchaya Udun. So this is the Uchaya Udun is basically from here and runs along this ridge. And this was the area where, back in the time of the Ryukyu dynasty, this area kind of belonged to the king. The king would come up here for two reasons, as we understand. One would be to exercise, to ride his horse, and to practice martial arts. And the other, which we'll come to later, was that over at the back of Uchaya Udun was the house where he kept his mistresses and concubines and children, tucked away just out of sight of Shuri Castle. But he would come up here to relax, so to speak. But what's really interesting about Sakiyama is that this was the area where all of the Aomori industry was located, all of it controlled by the king. The Sakiyama District of Shuri. And as it says here, Aomori supported by Bujin. So what does that mean? I mean, Aomori supported by Bujin. I mean, probably they were fans of Aomori, they probably drank a lot of it. We know that part of the important role of the Bushi was to protect the king's interests. We have stories of Sakagawa Kanga, making a name for himself by fighting off the pirates who were attacking the king's ships that were trading back and forth. So the Bujin probably, well, we know they had a pivotal role in protecting the trade of the Ryukyu kingdom, along the way, probably learning a lot about their trade as well. So one of the interesting areas of research around the history of the influences and development of martial arts in Okinawa is not just the China connection, but the connection down to Siam, or Thailand as we know it today, which was the source of both the knowledge and the technology to make Awamori, but also all of the rice as well. And that was a very active trading route, in fact much more active, more frequent than the route to China. Although it's not so well documented, we have a pretty good idea that there was a lot of trade, a lot of people and goods moving back and forth from the old Ryukyu, particularly from Shuri, down to Siam and back and forth. So probably also a lot of connection between the martial arts knowledge, military knowledge down in that kingdom, and Ryukyu too. Patrick McCarthy, Hanshi, has wrote a very, very interesting paper actually, exploring the possible depths of that connection. So that'd be something to look out as well.
He's on here. He's watching.
Is he? Well, Hanshi, thank you for your support, and yeah, let's get that paper out there again, because it was a really interesting one. I know when I read it, it opened my eyes. So, okay. So from here, we're actually going to go along Uchaya Udun Ridge, take a look at a really interesting tomb, and then loop round down into the Awamori Distillery district itself. Okay, so let's go. But along the way, actually, before we leave this park, we're going to go and meet a friend of Becca's.
Yeah, that's the only kind of friend I have, is these ones.
Cute little guy. Kind of been sat here on his own for a while, about 400 years. Yeah. We were just saying that he's a bit like...
Oh, there's a cat!
Oh.
Look!
There we go, another of Becca's friends.
Oh, it's cute.
So we were just kind of saying that we're going to go and see a shisa. This is, I think, one of the coolest shisa that you're going to find in Okinawa. He's sort of tucked away. He's not quite so famous as maybe some of the others that are more prominent in and around Naha. But this guy is very cool.
He was closed off for a long while up here.
Yeah, they've just finished renovating him, haven't they? Cleaning him up.
So we couldn't come to see him before.
They gave him a bit of a facelift. Here he is. This is the stone shisa of Uchaya Udun, and dates back to 1677, and still looking in pretty good shape. We're wondering, you've got this blue paint and the pigment here, whether that's even some of the original paint or pigment that's left. When the shisa were made, I think they were very, very brightly coloured, and I suspect over time, it feels like maybe some of the corners have been kind of, weathered down. And that's what I was saying, it kind of reminds me of an old martial arts sensei, right? When they're younger, they're very sort of, quite, tough and hard and, very bright and colorful, right? But over time they mellow with age, weather down, and kind of, become a little bit cuter,
This is probably one of the biggest, most well-preserved older shisas that we've seen, I think. Then you look so happy.
Yeah, so that's the stone shisa of Uchaya Udun. Let's carry on.
Okay. Mike McKenna has come on, and Mary from Canada has come on.
Hey Mike, good to see you.
So it's the time of year around rainy season and right before it, where all the flowers come out. We have the lilies and we have the hibiscus are in bloom everywhere, and
even the getto is flowering.
It's very, very pretty.
Okay, so let's take a little bit of a detour. We're going to go down the hill here to go and see the tomb of a very significant figure in Ryukyu history.
If you go all the way to the bottom of these, it will be quite a workout.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, we're not far away from the Kinjo stone steps, or the stone path that runs right down from the Kinjo Dam up to Shuri Castle. Was the old route that the king and the king's procession would take when they were moving from the Shuri Castle to the summer palace in Shikina Park. So that's just over to the side of here. And we're basically looking in the direction of Shikina right now. What we're going to do is take a look at a lovely tomb, which is just off to our left here. And this is the tomb of Akima Shinjo.
And it's very big. I can't quite fit it all in the screen, but
so Akima Shinjo was a Shuri noble. He was born in 1557. And he became one of the most notable figures in Okinawan history because of the agricultural products that he introduced to the Ryukyu kingdom, which resulted in probably saving many lives over the years. So as you will know, if you've been to Okinawa, Okinawa is subject to typhoons. Every year there are typhoons, and some of them can be very destructive. Usually that can mean that agricultural products, the crops are ruined, and it takes several months for the food supply to come back. In the past, that could have led to famine, and often did lead to famine for the local population. So one of the most important agricultural products that was introduced to Okinawa was the sweet potato. This was brought over from China. And the story of how this got here was there were two parts to it. Akima Shinjo was the lord who was credited with spreading the cultivation of sweet potatoes throughout Ryukyu, and thereby introducing it as a staple for everybody's diet. As he also did with sugarcane afterwards as well. But actually, it was one of his subjects that actually brought the sweet potato back from China originally, yeah?
Yeah, it was. I've completely forgotten his name, but on our long walk, we have his grave also planned to go and visit the...
Noguni?
Noguni, that's the one. Noguni. Yeah. We're going to go and see Noguni's grave on the way. He brought it over from China, and then he gave it to Noguni village. He spread it and taught them how to grow it in Noguni village, and Noguni then taught Gima Shinjo how to grow it, and Gima Shinjo went around and taught everybody in the south how to grow sweet potatoes and how to cultivate them, and then everybody.
Yes, that's right. So Noguni Sokan was a subject of Gima Shinjo, who was lord of the area, and this all happened around 1605. And as we said, you know, the advent of the sweet potato being added as a staple crop in Okinawa really allowed the Ryukyu people to protect themselves against these famines brought on by typhoons. Later on, Gima Shinjo also went to China. He dispatched retainers to China actually to learn sugar manufacturing methods, and brought sugarcane back to Okinawa, and that became one of sort of the engines of the economic boom that then happened during the Ryukyu kingdom period. Cultivation of sugar, selling of sugar, also production of Aomori became a significant trade and income for the Ryukyu period. Later on, we know other things such as guns and military technology. Despite some of the sort of let's say 19th century, 20th century kind of PR that you know, there were no weapons in Ryukyu. Actually, what we know is that Ryukyu thrived from the trade of selling guns, and that was another major industry here as well.
Also cotton, right?
Cotton also was introduced by Gima Shinjo as well. So he really was a very, very important leader in the development of the Ryukyu civilization. Okay.
And if you want to have a study, you can take a screenshot of this and then translate that if you want to. It has hiragana, so it should be a bit easier.
There you go, a little bit of Japanese practice for you today. Okay, I'm going to head back up to Uchaya Udun Ridge.
Evan's joined on.
Evan, nice to see you, my friend. Really enjoying your wandering historian posts. If you guys want to get a regular update of history, then make sure that you follow the Wandering Historian, and Evan does just a fantastic job there of sharing history from Okinawa, US history, etc. A lot of military history with the world. So good to see you, Evan. Thanks for joining us. Okay.
We have David, who is IOGKF.
Oh, maybe David Lambert?
No.
No?
So from here we're going to go to the Uchaya Udun, where the training house was for Matsumura Sokan.
So today Uchaya Udun is the site of a Catholic church, a Catholic school, and also next door one of the big state schools, the elementary schools. So you're going to see lots of parents and kids coming in and out. Let's go up onto the ridge here. So we were lucky enough to be given a tour of this area a few years ago by Nakasone Koichi Sensei, who is one of the leading Shuri Te, Suidi practitioners and also historians when it comes to this area of history. We're going to walk down a little bit down the ridge over there, but this is one of the remaining kind of flat open areas where, according to history, the king, his senior advisors, his bodyguards, so Matsumura Sokan, for example, would come up and practice their horsemanship and their martial arts. So you can get a feel for what that might have been like back then in their time. From here, you've still got there's a fantastic views across the whole of the domain. And back in the day, 200 or 300 years ago, of course, all of this would have been fields, agricultural, and you'd be looking out onto the coastline. Let's walk across here.
We're gonna have to jump down with them. Derek's on. Derek that always comes.
Oh, hello, Derek. So Nakasone Sensei told us an interesting story when we were down here, which was kind of relates to the sort of the sometimes the distractions that the king suffered when he came here, distractions from his training. So although they would come here for training, and Matsumura Sokon, as the king's bodyguard, would do his best to instruct the king in the ways of martial arts and horsemanship. Unfortunately, this was also the location of the king's harem. So there was a traditional house here where the king housed his mistresses, his concubines, and all of their children. And when we come down here, we get a feel for how that would be kind of just tucked away out of sight of Shuri Castle. So just out of sight, but not out of mind for the king. Matsumura Sokon complained that the king would be too easily and too quickly distracted from his practice and would disappear and head off to visit his concubines and mistresses. We've got some old stonework here. Nice to take a look at this. Overgrown, with time. Okay. So we're going to head back up the ridge and down into Sakiyama proper. So into the Aomori Distillery District. By the way, if you guys want to ask us any questions along the way, please feel free to do that in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer those. Don't mind if it's about Okinawa in general, or what we're seeing on the tour. By all means, throw us a question or a comment. We'll see if we can come back to you on that.
Aren't they so cute? With their hats on. Evan says, when is Dojo Bar 2.0 opening?
Oh, Evan, that's the toughest question at the moment. Probably next year. At the moment, still looking at options, looking at ways to get the second Dojo Bar open. So not expecting many foreign visitors to get back in before the end of this year. So that's a 2022 project.
Yeah, the coronavirus is I'd say probably at its worst for Okinawa.
Actually, right now it's the peak. Yeah, actually we've got now maximum infections. We've got maximum hospitalizations so far. Things are not in meltdown here, but it is more serious now here than it's been previously. So the hospitals, they are very concerned about capacity. They're now hospitalizing only those with the most severe symptoms, which makes sense, I guess. Okay, I just want to show you a really nice water feature here. We're actually looking into the elementary school.
Yeah, and
but the water here is coming from one of the natural aquifers.
They have a nice little pond, and they really get the kids here to be quite responsible for looking after their school.
Yeah, yes. One of the really good features about the Japanese education system is that kids on a daily basis have to keep their space clean and work together to clean the communal areas of the school. And that certainly builds a sense of responsibility into them.
Okay, so Evan says, what can we do to help? I'm sorry to hear of the COVID situation in Okinawa from Damien.
Evan, thank you. Well, I tell you, your care and your concern is very much appreciated. It certainly helps to keep our spirits up. And when we have a concrete project to rebuild the bar or reopen the bar in a location, believe me, I will let you all know. And there will be, it's certainly a project that we'll all undertake together. Just bear with us, and we will come back to you on that.
Yeah, I mean,
just as soon as we have news.
Right now, our main project is to keep the dojo, keep the dojo going, and to keep the online events and seminars happening.
Yeah, as always, karate remains at the heart of what we do. So, that was the great thing about the dojo bar, was that it was more than just a watering hole, right? It was kind of at the center of our whole karate life here. And our dojo is that too. So, like, for most of you, karate is your ikigai, it's what keeps you going, what gives us our energy and our enthusiasm. It's the challenge, a lifelong challenge. And so, yeah, we're going to keep building everything around our karate practice as we always do. Okay.
Do you think you're going to do any more virtual quizzes?
I could do, yeah. I hadn't thought about it for a while, but yeah, I certainly could. Okay, let me think about that. I'll see if I can schedule one. Okay. Maybe Evan, you and I can collaborate on that, on a new set of questions for that one. Okay. So let's just cross over the street here. We're now down into the Sakiyama District. Beautiful old district here, old houses, old paved streets, but also quite a lot of contemporary and interesting pieces of art and sculpture along this street as well. It's a very long, straight street, which is kind of unusual. Because, as most of you will know if you've wandered around Shuri, it's all tiny little streets, twisting and turning usually, but this one is very long and very straight, and there's actually a very interesting historical reason for that. I might reveal that to you as we come down the street here. But here is a clue. Take a look. Take a look at this sculpture here. So we have a sculpture of a man riding a horse. This is a contemporary sculpture, but it is referring to the fact that this long street here was actually a racetrack, a horse racing track. So in Okinawan language, those are baba, it means horse racing location. And actually this Saturday, Hokama Sensei will be giving a lecture on the subject of horses and their part in Ryukyu history. Today, there aren't many horses in Okinawa, but actually up until the Second World War, there were lots. At one point there were said to be 30,000 horses in Ryukyu, and they were a very valuable commodity and very important part of everyday life. Come and have a look at the panel here. Okay. So we can say that this is the site of Usan Shichi, the Ryukyu king's seat for watching horse races. So Sakiyama Baba, the Sakiyama horse racing site. Yeah. U meaning royal, Seichi Ato, so the place of watching, right? And yeah, there are a few locations where we still see these long straight streets. The tracks used to be 600 to 700 meters long, about 30 meters wide. And what's really interesting about the horse racing style, it wasn't just speed racing, they'd also train the horses to walk in a very beautiful and particular way. So it's a bit more like, what's the?
Dressage.
Dressage. Dressage. So like a dressage event. The horses would actually be, and the riders be ranked on how skillfully and beautifully the horses had been trained to walk and move. And apparently these were very, very popular events. And these racetracks would be lined with vendors, and it'd be a real kind of, matsuri kind of atmosphere here. So it's a piece of history that we weren't aware of and has kind of been revealed to us recently, this whole section of history of Okinawa to do with horses. But like I say, on Saturday, we will be live streaming the lecture for Okama Sensei, so if you're interested, please join on to that.
Yeah, so Fred asks, will there be a translation of Okama Sensei's lecture at any point?
Yes, there will be. During the lecture, we'll be putting up English language notes on the topics that he's talking about, and then as soon as possible after, we'll be adding an English dubbed version. So you should be able to understand the whole thing. So that will be available very shortly, let's say 1 to 2 days after the live event itself.
And you'll share that with
Yes,
them?
we'll share that, and that will go onto our YouTube channel. What we'll do is we'll share the link to that inside the Let's Tour Okinawa group.
And Evan says, is that the Rookie House stable area? And I think the answer to that is probably no, because when we went into the castle, we saw the horse stable area,
Yeah,
right?
when we go up into the castle, there's an area at the back of the castle. When we walk in, there's an area that says that this is where the stable was. So, but that's not far away. I mean, it's only like...
It really is. It's
5
like
minutes walk away.
right there.
Okay. So, here we are in front of the Zuisen Distillery. So let's pop in and say hi. The Zuisen Distillery is run by the Sakamoto family. It's a family business for generations. It's one of the oldest distilleries that remains in its original location, just in the shadow of Shuri Castle. Zuisen makes some of the best Aomori, no question. And over the years, they've been quite innovative in finding new strains, new cultures of the koji, which is used to ferment the Aomori. They've also done a lot of historical research to go back and look for the old methods of making Aomori. So a lot of what was felt to be lost because of the destruction during the war, etc. And they rediscovered a lot of that. They worked with academics on the mainland in Kyoto and Tokyo, and they actually recreated or rebirthed the old ways of making Aomori. So let's go inside and take a look. It's still a little bit early in the morning, but hopefully we can pop our head in and say hi. Ohayou gozaimasu. Sakamoto-san, Gaku-san, いますか? あ、ちょっと覗いていいですか? 今ライブ中なんですけど。大丈夫ですか? So this is Mr. Sakamoto, who is the president of the Zuisen Distillery. We are live.
Welcome to Zuisen.
Thank you, thank you. So we're going to get just a little private tour, a little sneak peek. They're not quite open for business yet. You can get a look at the various goods that they have here. They say they make some of the best Aomori on the island. And you can come here and you can taste. So they're very happy to give you free samples. Come over here, you can see some of their main products and brands. And the other thing that they have here, we won't go up into that today, but they have a little museum here. So you can go up into, we'll just go into the first part of it. Take a look at the display case. So here in the display case, they show some of their top products, the historical products. They have different varieties of Aomori here with different aspects to the flavor and taste, but also some of the older items that are used,
ichigo.
cups, that are used for the Aomori. We've got some beautiful glass bottles here. And as I say, when you have the time, you can actually go up into the distillery. You can see the process happening. They have a really nice display up there about the history of Aomori, and I strongly recommend it. We're not going to go up there today just because we don't have the time.
Oh, there's a chicken. Look, do you see the chicken one?
The chicken bottle, eh? How many years have you been here? How many? 134 years.
Ooh.
This distillery, 134 years. Yeah.
もう昔はこの辺でしか青森作れなかったんですけど、今はもう2カ所しかない。
That's right. So historically in this area, all of the Aomori production was in this area. But now there are only 2 distilleries remaining. Zuisen, one of them. If you come to Shuri, if you come to Sakiyama, you must check it. It is fantastic.
And if there's big karate events, they've done special limited bottles
right.
for the karate
Right.
events before, right?
So the Sakamoto family have been very generous in supporting and sponsoring, producing a limited edition. So for the Sekai Karate Kobudo Taikai no tame 特別商品は作りましたんじゃないですか。Yeah. So they made the bottles that were given as prizes to the competitors in the competition, international competition a few years ago. And also, been very kind to sponsor the 100 kata event in the past as well. So thank you very much for your friendship. Yeah. Okay. Good. Well. ありがとうございます。これから修理場行きます。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございました。はい。おはようございます。お久しぶりです。ジェームズです。坂本さん、いつもお世話になっております。いえ、こちらこそ。あ、見ました。ちょっとウチャイウドゥンの歴史の今やってますから。よろしくお願いします。本当にありがとうございます。
King, it's the Shurijo King.
そう、これ形首里城。
Oh, very good. You see the shape of the design is the same shape as Shurijo.
これ首里城の形。
はいはい。So we see the roof design, the shape of Shurijo. That's very cool. For us, thank you.
Thank you.
ありがとうございました。いい。Okay. じゃあありがとうございました。また来ます。はい。
Oh, and we should just show them that a lot of Aomori companies have actually turned into making alcohol that everybody is using.
Yes, the sanitation alcohol. Yeah. So
clean
when the
the
Aomori
house.
comes out of the still, it comes out like 80%, 90% proof. So it's perfect for sanitation, and also smells nice. ありがとうございます。Thank you.
ありがとう。
Well, that was an unexpected score. We picked up 2 little bottles of special Aomori. Fantastic. Okay, so Sakiyama is in the shadow of the walls of Shuri Castle. We're going to actually now head in deeper into Sakiyama and towards the Keiseimon, which is the major gate at the east side, the back of the castle. Well, that was really nice of Mr. Sakamoto, wasn't it? His name's Sakamoto Gaku. His first name's Gaku, yeah, he's a lovely fellow. If you look him up by name when you go there, then yeah, he's probably going to make sure that you don't leave empty-handed.
Yeah, and what the sad thing is we're not allowed to send Aomori to people. We have this question asked a lot.
Yeah.
But Japan does not let you export any alcohol over what, 17%, and that's like everything.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So
I was just thinking when he gave this to me, this would be ideal to send to somebody who is on our tour today, but it's alcohol, so it's going to have to wait here. But what we will do, what we think would be nice to do in our tours, all of our tours that we're doing over the next few weeks, is we're going to try and pick up some things along the way that we can send to selected people who donate to us as we do our tours. So we'll be looking for interesting, unique, cute items that we can find as we go along through our tours, and then we will select, for every tour, we're going to select one of the people that's been kind enough to donate to us, and we'll be sending you those special goods from Okinawa.
Yeah, and today we're thinking it'll be good at the end of this tour, we'll stop in the new gift shop they have, and maybe you can help us choose what would be a good gift.
Yeah, the gift shop inside Shuri Castle has actually done a really good job with it.
Yeah, they have.
So here we are. We're looking up at the Keisei-mon.
It's beautiful.
Rather impressive gate. As we said earlier, usually would have been closed, but recently they've opened it up to allow people to come in and better access the restoration site, the rebuilding that's going on in the center of the castle. Come on over here and take a look at the information panel. So we've got a nice old photo of the gate.
And what's really interesting about this is if you look really close, you can see how the old building of the walls were. And if we look up there now, you can see that almost the entire thing has had to be rebuilt in the newer style.
Yeah. When we go inside, actually, we can see some older bits of the wall that remain when we go to the next gate inside.
And what's interesting about this gate is this is the gate where they would do the changing of the kings after one king has died. This is the gate where you would bring out the king's body.
That's right. Yeah.
And so it reminded me quite a lot of Buckingham Palace, because they also have the same kind of rituals and gates that go with that castle, palace as well.
Let's go up.
Wayne says, can't we just label the Aomori as hand sanitizer?
It would still that would indicate that it was an even higher alcohol content, so that might not work in our favor, Wayne, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think as the Mr. Zuisen was saying the other day, I think they're all really struggling, and by turning the Aomori into hand sanitizer, they're actually, I think, losing quite a lot of money because it's having to be so much stronger.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But a lot of local businesses, they've seen, an 80-90% drop in trade at points over the past year and a half. So of course, they've had to be agile and adapt. But here we are at the Keisei-mon Gate, and we're going to see this lovely lady who welcomes us in. Ohayou gozaimasu.
Ohayou gozaimasu.
We were here a couple of days ago, and she was very friendly to us. 今、ライブ中なんですよ。世界から。ありがとうございます。これは何という門ですか？美福門。綺麗な門ですか？そうですね。Yeah. So this is we're now looking at the next inner gate. This is the Bifukumon, which means the gate of beauty and wealth and prosperity. 綺麗と豊富な幸せ. So beauty and happiness, the gate of beauty and happiness.
And with this wall, if you look really close up there, you can actually see some of the original stonework.
Yeah, we've actually got several different layers. So the old small stonework here, this is probably the oldest section down here, where they've basically just taken stones that haven't been reworked in shape and just fitted them together and piled them up. Then you get the next style where the stones are more fitted together but still with no mortar and still relatively random shapes. And then you get the next level where the stones are essentially shaped into blocks and fitted together. And then obviously the very modern machine cut stone and masonry up here. So it's really interesting. You're kind of seeing a slice of history going through here as you look at the walls. Now we can't go in through this gate, but we're going to go around and follow the route around the side. A little bit of a climb, nice workout for us. We're going to go around to the side entrance and then into the inner area where we can see the Reconstruction.
Yeah, and in answer to you, Evan, yes, you can. You can take bottles of Aomori with you when you visit. You can take, I think, four away with you.
Yeah.
Wayne says he was looking forward to having some really well sanitized hands.
It strikes me that a lot of our audience here are really, really interested in Aomori. It's nice to know that you guys are so connected to that particular part of Okinawan culture. Very much the Aomori Appreciation Society has logged on today. That's good. I'll count myself among them.
Evan said, did he ever give you copies of photos of Shuri before the war?
Yes, you did, and I have them tucked away in the library inside the Asato Dojo. Yeah, thank you for those. Along with pictures of the Butokan, which used to stand.
I remember that one, yeah.
Now, it used to stand where the prefectural government is now.
So when we get to the top here, you actually get a really interesting view backwards at the big hole they made in the wall of the castle, so that they can bring in construction trucks.
From here you can see it. I'll have to go around.
It's quite a lot of steps, but it's good.
Yeah, so we're getting near one of the high spots of the castle site. Beautiful view down over Naha to Naha Port.
That's a nice view over there.
And from here we can see we're now looking on the sort of the north side of the central area where the Seiden stood, and they're rebuilding one of the gates there, just on the south side. They got the scaffold up on the north side, rather. They got the scaffolding up there.
So if you look, right, let me see if I can help you. You can't. It's not going to focus. Right, that there is the Shireinomon, where most people would come in.
Yes, they're in the distance. Yeah, absolutely.
And so we've really come at it from the opposite direction, which I'd never done before. It wasn't open before on the trips I'd made here. So it's definitely worth coming at it and visiting the castle from this point of view.
And the building that we can see just here on the left-hand side, just inside the walls here, that's the Hokuden. Which means the Northern Hall, and that was the hall that was built as the residence for the visiting Chinese emissaries, the Saposhi, when they would come over and periodically visit the Ryukyu king, usually to attend investitures and to re-establish and underpin the favoured trade relationship that the Qing and then the Ming dynasties established with the Ryukyu kingdom.
And so if you think about how close the castle was to where his training ground was, and where the Aomori was made, and where the horses were raced, it's really all very, very, very close together and strategically placed.
So this is probably one of the quietest spots in the whole castle site. Although it's opened up to the public now, it wasn't previously, they are restoring some of the garden that used to be here. This area was a garden. It was also the area that had the stables in it. And over to our left here, also we see there are some natural caves and tombs, store areas that remain here as well. So one of the things that we found really interesting when we came here the other day was this little piece on some of the fruit trees that they are restoring into this area. I don't know if you knew, you don't see it so much, but there are various raspberry varieties and berry varieties that grow here. And the Takai Chubi is sort of a local raspberry. According to the old tales, there were a field of raspberries here, and the Molucca raspberry, which was referred to as the Takai Chubi here, spring in early. They bear fruit in spring to summer, and yeah, you can see they've planted bushes around this area, looking to recultivate that. So if you come here at the right time, you get a tasty snack as well.
I don't know if they're just going to let you eat it.
Okay,
oh, this one's actually interesting, because if you look close up, you can see where the strawberries and raspberries would have come off. Not strawberries, raspberries. But
yeah. Okay, let's just walk over, take a quick look at the caves over here, and then we're going to head up inside Shuri Castle.
And being at the bottom of these tombs really gives you the idea of how magnificent and how tall these walls really are.
Yeah.
And now the sun's coming out for everybody.
Lovely.
Good job I got my hat, wasn't it?
So at the end of our Shuri Reconstruction tour, which we uploaded onto and shared on Bujin TV, and I've also just shared on our YouTube channel as well. So we're sharing the whole documentary for free for you guys to have a look at too for a limited time. We'll share the link to that in the group too. At the end of that tour, we came down here and we took a look at this site, and it's really interesting because natural caves like this were utilized by people back in the Ryukyu period and well before the Ryukyu period as places to take refuge, to store goods, often to bury the dead. When the Aomori period began to age and mature the Aomori, they put it in the ceramic pots and tuck it away in caves like this, so to let it mature for a few years. And it says here that these caves go back quite a distance. The stonework at the front obviously was built to then close off the entrances. But they've done quite a bit of work recently to open up these gamma. So these are referred to as gamma, which is essentially means a cavern or a man-made structure. So the indication that these were used from about the 15th century through to the 20th century. So essentially from about the time when Shuri Castle became a center for civilization here. So this is a lovely park. We've got the whole place to ourselves. It's super quiet.
It really is. There's pine trees, Ryukyu pine trees planted all around in the middle there. And they've really tried to do a lot of the Okinawan native plants and herbs and tried to keep it as historical.
So over here we've got a small bamboo forest that they've replanted. And there's an interesting, again, signboard over here talking about how there was a large kind of bamboo forest or plantation here, specifically so that they could harvest the bamboo to use in the decoration inside the castle. So the tokonoma, the throne, the whole area inside the seiden was essentially built using bamboo. Particularly the decoration was often built using bamboo, and you see some pictures of it here, and they would grow that and harvest it here.
You can see there's another gate up there, and the one that they're restoring we're now coming around to have a closer view of. And right across the other side, you actually get a really nice view down at the Enkanchi.
Yeah.
Enkakuji.
Encakade. Let's take a look. Take a look. Let's take a peek over the hedge here. So they've been basically preparing this site for some sort of construction for the past several months. We've been coming here regularly and seeing that they've been progressing and kind of clearing the site, improving the access to it. This is the site where Enkakuji used to sit. All that remains now is just off to the left. You can see there's sort of an entrance and a gate area. Just below that is the famous bridge over the pond. There's a decorative bridge and a pond there that sits just behind the gate. So the entrance to Encakade is all that remains in terms of the construction. So we're intrigued to know whether they're going to actually reconstruct Encakade Temple or build something else here. But we will certainly be keeping our eyes on this location to see what develops here. Just off to the right here, we have Shuri Geidai, so the Shuri University of Arts. The connection to the karate world? Well, you may or may not know that Sakamoto Sensei, famed for Ryu, used to be the principal of the Shuri Geidai, the Shuri Arts Museum, Shuri Arts University, just here.
Okay, we've made it to the money house.
Yeah.
This on the right here is where the money house used to be.
Yeah, today this is a rest area, but there were two buildings here. There was the Zenikan. And Zenikan was the money house, or the place where the resources were kept, and then also there were the stables here as well. Or is it the Zenikura? Zenikura, that's right.
Yeah, and you can see, Evan, I think this answers your question. You can see there's the horse stable in the office, and then the money house. Which was really interesting to me, because it wasn't just the money. It says they also stored the alcohol and
kura means a warehouse.
Oil.
Yeah, so a kura usually means a warehouse, and so they would have stored various resources of value here.
Yeah, so you can see on this nice old picture here, you can see where the horse stable and office was. Okay, from here we're gonna head inside, and you can see this. What's that tree called? This one up here. Every time I see it, I just think of the war.
Oh, this is the tree fern. Yeah, the Japanese name will come back to me, but yeah. We were told stories about it's toxic essentially, right? It's not very good to eat at all. In fact, the only part that's edible is there's a pulpy core inside the trunk of the tree ferns here, but it is toxic. But then during the war, after the war, when the Okinawans had nothing else to eat, they would take the pulpy core out, they would dry it and then boil it to take the toxins out. And what remained was something akin to sort of a powder or flour, which they could use to make, obviously some sort of bread or food. They said it tasted terrible, and it really was, sort of last resort food. Hokama Sensei told us stories about how, when he was younger, they would sometimes have to resort to that kind of sustenance in really desperate times.
Yeah, and so now we've come around to, that's the Kankaimon.
That's the Kankaimon, the gate of welcome. This gate, probably most famously associated with the arrival of Commodore Perry, came to Japan with his fleet of black ships in order to force Japan out of its closed country period and bring an end to the Sakoku. He arrived here first at Ryukyu and essentially forced his way into the castle through the Kankaimon there.
This gate right in front of us, they've just finished repainting it and renovating it, so it's beautifully red and shiny.
This is the Zuisen Zuisen Distillery takes its name from this gate, and this means the plentiful spring. The reason for that is that there is
just down here
a wonderful natural spring right next to it. You can see the dragon head there with the water coming out. And even today, the water coming out is very pure, coming out from the natural aquifers that run under Shuri.
And the gate is now looking really, really nice.
Yeah, they've done a great job in restoring this. Lacquered everything. We're going through here, we feel like we're going into Shuri Castle proper.
And now we're at the
This is the Rokokumon.
With the water clock.
Yeah, this gate famous for the clocks, the water clock and the sundial.
And also, this is where you have to get off of your horses and out of your chair and walk.
Yes, this was the law here. Everybody had to dismount and proceed by foot from here on in. This is really sort of the last step before they get their audience with the king. They've put a
wow.
dragon sign up there at the gate as well.
So even over here where you can see they've just finished rebuilding the Hokuden, it looks really, really nice.
Yeah. Actually, it's not the Hokuden. The Hokuden's not been finished, the rebuilding yet, they're still going. This is the gate into the Seiden area where they finished the rebuilding and they finished the tiling there. We're going to go inside.
That was the one where Honkama Sensei says they stored all the guns this side and the medicine was the other side.
Yeah, they stored the guns and the medicine in there, that's right, yeah. So we're going in through the Kofukumon. Ohayou gozaimasu.
Ohayou gozaimasu. Oh, the guards are still
The
here.
guards are here. So I'm going to go and buy our tickets to go inside, and Becca
We'll
can
just
give
go
you
stare at the guards.
a view of the guards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't challenge them, Becca. Don't challenge them.
I wonder if they're like the Buckingham Palace ones that don't move or do anything when you get right in front of them. Or if we could ask them if they do kobudo or not. What do you think? What's your guess? Guess before I ask them. Do you think they do kobudo or they don't do kobudo? What do you think? Quite new. I haven't seen guards here before. Dressed like this. I'd quite like an outfit like that, I think. And then from this point of view, as many of you probably know, over there we have the entrance gate we just came in, and then over there is the tea house, where you can go in and you can have some tea and some of the traditional sweets that the king would have eaten. And if you keep walking over behind the tea house, you see that there's the garden where they would grow all the medicinal flowers and plants. And there's also a really, really fantastic viewpoint up the back there that I didn't know about until James showed me, that you just got to keep going all the way through over there, and there's a really, really beautiful viewpoint. So there's still just so much that I miss, and that it seems lots of people miss when they come to visit here. They kind of just come in and go through the big gates, but there's so many small details to see. Okay, are you ready? We should ask them if they do kobudo. おはようございます。ちょっと質問あります。kobudo やってますか？
コブドやってないです。
bow is he's got an octagonal bow.
そうだね。六尺棒ですね。
But usually it's like round. They've got the actual.
感覚あるから面白いですね。持ちやすいよね。Easy to hold. ありがとうございます。
I think I can have that job because I actually do.
You could get away with that. You could pull that off. Yeah, definitely.
You could do this job.
はい、おはようございます。よし、はい。
So we're about to go through and see where the castle was, and it's gonna.
So you can see the young man at the gate there. He's got the historical dress on, with including the yellow hat, which would designate his rank.
So after the fire, I mean, I'm guessing that everybody knows, but maybe if you don't, there was a big fire in this castle in 2019.
October 31st. Yeah.
And it burnt down the entire main building plus the side buildings. And they say some of the reason for that is because the fire trucks couldn't get in to put it out.
Yeah, if you take a look actually over to the right, you can see where they've opened up now a gap in the outer wall there. They've built a road for the construction vehicles to come in and out.
Yeah, and so this is what it did look like before, as many of you know, and there's been lots of karate pictures taken here, and it's quite sad really what we're left with.
So when we came here, 3 months ago,
Yeah.
when we did our tour, and then what went into our reconstruction video, the site was a little different. So if I'm just looking around, kind of scanning what's changed, they've definitely done a lot more clearance here on this left side, the Hokuden site. They've cleared out and opened up that and exposed just all of the foundations that were left. There's more bags of rubble and debris here in the middle. As we saw when we came in on the outside, they've finished some of the reconstruction on some of the outer gates as well.
Yeah, and these two new posts are very, very, very helpful and very interesting. It kind of shows the.
Yeah, there's a really good panoramic view there of the site just after the fire, taken from here, from the Hoshimon gate area.
And then it also actually shows their planned schedule for rebuilding it.
Yeah. So you guys can probably see it for yourselves, but essentially 2021, construction of the timber warehouses. So those are the buildings that behind us and the gate that we just went through. The next step, this in 2022, is to build a temporary roof to cover the site where the seiden will be rebuilt. And then by 2026, the seiden will have been rebuilt. So the seiden is the building that's going to be restored based on the correct historical model, so a timber construction again. And they're bringing in timber from places like Taiwan and different places. I think the Taiwanese government made a donation of timber, didn't they, towards the reconstruction. So that's the one that's going to take the time to do. But yeah, 2026 looks like they're on track for that so far.
It does, and so from here we're not going to go around the entire site today. We're just going to take you up to what seems to be James's favourite part, is where they're using all the technology. And then we'll take a stop in the gift shop.
Yeah, for the more detailed reconstruction tour, like I said, please check out our tour video, which is on Bujin TV, and also is shared now on our YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, and I think that one's really interesting because Hokama Sensei came along with us, and he told us some parts that we didn't even know about before, like how they discovered that these side buildings were not built traditionally, but only after it had burnt down, and that the castle actually used to have three stories to it. And you'll see the foundations where you can see that actually it's the the fifth or sixth time that this castle has been burnt
Yes,
down.
every time the castle burns down, it literally adds another layer of history to the site. They build on top of that. It's
But this was the first time it had burnt down since
war.
World War II.
Yeah, since World War II, when it was destroyed through bombing. We get a view there into some of the old stonework that was exposed. Where we're stood right now is where the Seiden building was. So,
and this would have been where you remember you came into the throne room and you could look through the floor at this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So this was what the throne room was inside.
Yes, we are where the throne room was. And what's interesting from here is you can appreciate, for example, one of the details, and this detail is even lost in a lot of the official pictures of the Seiden and the Una, the ceremonial courtyard right in front of the Seiden, is that it's purposely built at an angle. If you look from here, you can see the angle that the Una lines were set on. And Wakama Sensei told us that this was done on purpose in order to angle the audience, all of the people that would come and sit down here, kneel down here to listen to the king. They would be angled to better hear what the king was saying. And also it was to offset kind of the line coming into the king to protect him more from bad spirits or evil spirits which might try to come in. So there was sort of superstition, and there was sort of a practical side to a lot of the smaller design features in the Shuri Castle, which are not immediately obvious perhaps to visitors or even to people that live here.
Yeah, and as we just go past here, you'll be able to see the remains of the dragons that were on the roof. You can see sort of the blue eyes and the curly whiskers it had on its head.
Yeah, we've got some pictures here of the Yuto Munakazari, the dragon head crests that were on the top of the Seiden building. And yeah, you can see the bits and pieces that are left.
So it's still quite sad to see that such a thing was destroyed, but it's really great that how sort of so many people came together to support the rebuilding and the reconstruction of it.
Indeed, you know, adversity tends to bring people together, to unite, and that's certainly been the case here in Okinawa. There was a massive outpouring of support, both locally and internationally, and yeah, I think that there's no question that we will see the Seiden rise again from the flames. Okay, so is the gift shop open yet? Is the question. It opens.
It opens at 10.
10. Gift shop not open yet, but we can take a little peek inside. The gift shop was actually built on the site of the old women's quarters. Is that right?
Yes, it was. That's what Hokama Sensei said.
Yeah. And good spot to go in, take a break, get some shade, get a drink, and pick up some nice gifts. Right, let's go over here to the Yohokori Den. And what we're going to do is give you a peek at the wonderful video show that is running here as a permanent addition to the Shuri Castle reconstruction site.
So this video goes on for maybe 10 minutes or so. And what they also let you do sometimes in there is put on a VR headset, and you can have like a virtual reality experience of Shuri Castle. So and we're right up the back here. So should we finish tour number 1 here?
Indeed, let's come over. Let's come over here. So we hope you've enjoyed this tour, and thank you for your support, both in joining the tour, and if you'd like to share a donation with us, that's greatly appreciated too. Thank you very much. Our next tour is on this Sunday, and we are going down to the Peace Park. In fact, we're going to go down to the Peace Park, down on the south coast, and also take a look at a secret waterfall down there, which is a fantastic location. So that will be at our time from 5 p.m., 5 p.m. JST, which will be early in the morning for folks in America.
Yep. And morning, later in the morning for Europe.
Later in the morning for Europe. If you can, please join us on Sunday for our tour of the Peace Park and the secret waterfall location. Hope you've enjoyed the tour today. Any last questions that you'd like to throw us before we go?
Thank you, Cam. I've worked really hard on trying to master this gimbal, and I think I'm getting it.
You're getting pretty good at it, I think. Better than me, anyway.
Yeah. So we'll be taking and sharing a few more pictures on our way out on our Let's Tour Okinawa page. We'll also hopefully get into the gift shop depending on the time.
Yeah.
And maybe pick something that we'll be doing as a giveaway for.
I really wish I could send you the sake.
You're rubbing it in, hide it.
I wish I could send it, but I'm going to have to look after it myself. Apologies, sometimes it's just the way it goes. It's a tough job, someone's got to do it, right?
Yeah, he's rubbing it in your face a little bit. But we'll try and find a nice something that we can send to one of you guys to thank you all for your support. We'll be making some of these videos available on the YouTube channel and also with some other stuff, so you can rewatch it later, and we'll keep sharing inside the group. Right. If you know anybody who would like to join in the group and come on tours, please welcome them and invite them to join us.
Please share the group. Anybody come in and join the tour. We welcome everybody. Let's share. We love to share Okinawa with all of you, and looking forward to having you all back here again. We'll see you hopefully on Sunday for our next tour.